This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Friday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what's making headlines on this last day of January. Residents forced out of a southwest side mobile home park are getting some help this morning while officials from the Attorney General's office were going door to door.
A Hendricks County teacher accused of sexual misconduct will soon appear in court when Tyler Bruce will face a judge for the first time.
The Hoosier State is leading the way when it comes to protecting newborns. This morning, where the state's latest baby box is set to be unveiled. But first, we need to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast.
That's right. Todd Clausen is standing by. And Todd, I see some white stuff on the radar behind you. What is that?
You know, we've had the clouds all week long, and we've had a few flurries, but now we're talking about the potential, at least for some minor accumulation here across central Indiana. It's mainly going to be south. What you see right now, though, for the most part, isn't reaching the ground. And I think as we progress through the morning commute, the longer you wait, the better potential you will have of seeing at least some minor accumulation. But I think the bulk of that is from Indianapolis down to the south, and you notice some rain mixing in as well as the temperatures will start to warm. So we're not talking about a lot in the way of any precipitation, as this will quickly make its way through the area. But anytime you are talking about snow, obviously there could be a few slick spots in some areas. By the time we get to 12 o'clock, some snow showers from Indianapolis towards Greensburg over towards Richmond, and that quickly races off towards the east. Any accumulation would be a ½ an inch or less, so just kind of prepare for it in southern locations, but just know that I think the bulk of the morning commute should be okay unless you leave fairly late. Temperatures right now hovering from 35 in Bloomington, where if it did fall at this point it would be just rain, still at 33 in Indianapolis, so that's a thing we'll have to keep an eye on as the temperatures start to drop as this precipitation moves in. By this afternoon we're looking at mostly cloudy skies, dry conditions, and highs right around 40 degrees. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much for keeping a close eye on your roads this morning. Here is a look at our drive times heading in from the east side. From Post Road to I-65, the north split, no delays, a 10-minute commute. Let's take a look right now in the downtown area. This is I-65 near West Street and MLK. Traffic here is pretty quiet, as you can see. Of course, we'll continue to keep our eyes on the roads. We'll let you know if there's anything going on that makes you reroute.
People being forced from their homes due to the sudden shutdown of a mobile home park are starting to get compensation. On Thursday, the Attorney General's office delivered checks to residents of the I-70 mobile home park. Those homeowners first reached out to RTV6 for help back in August after receiving notices to leave the property by October. After several of our reports, the Indiana Attorney General's office issued a restraining order against the landowners. The AG's office also ordered the owners to pay residents for mobile homes that could not be moved.
If the government hadn't stepped in, we'd have probably really got screwed over pretty good. Everybody had to move and had nothing to move with. I mean, it still don't cover the full cost of what we have invested in the trailer, but it's better than just leaving with zero.
Staff members from the Attorney General's office plan to return to the mobile home park later today. You can find a full timeline of our reporting on this situation on our website, theindychannel.com. And if you need help solving a problem that you cannot get answers to, reach out to us at workingforyou@rtv6.com.
It is 5:03. The man accused of shooting at IMPD officers during a chase is off the streets this morning. Police arrested Kevin Brewer on Thursday in connection to a chase on Wednesday afternoon through the north side. Investigators say at least one shot was fired at officers. No one was hurt. Brewer faces an attempted murder charge. IMPD and federal law enforcement agencies say that they're working together to fight crime by focusing on a small number of people responsible for violence across Indianapolis. The Crime Gun Intelligence Center is on the way. Officials are combining resources to catch these criminals. We told you earlier this month the lab pieces together the evidence left behind. Every gun is a shot.
If you are pulling a trigger, shooting at another human being, shooting at a car, shooting at a house, pulling a trigger, you're a danger and you should be targeted. Trigger pullers, as we know, continue to pull the trigger until they murder somebody or until they're arrested themselves.
Officials say the center has removed 339 violent individuals and 254 guns from the community.
A Tri-West High School teacher accused of sexual misconduct with a student will appear in court next week. The preliminary hearing for Tyler Bruce is scheduled for February 5th in Hendricks County Court. He's charged with child seduction and obstruction of justice. Bruce is now on unpaid suspension as the school district moves to fire him. Former Tri-West principal Adam Benner is due in court on March 3rd. Benner is charged with failure to report allegations of child abuse to law enforcement or the Department of Child Services. He received a summons to appear in court and will not be arrested at this time. The failure to report charge is a misdemeanor. Benner has not issued a statement on the charge. Call 6 Investigates has been looking into this case since the beginning. You can find our entire timeline of how it all unfolded right now on the RTV6 app. Here at 5 after 5, the state's latest safe haven baby box is set to be unveiled this morning, this time at the White River Township Fire Department in Greenwood.
After today, there will be more than 25 safe haven baby boxes available here in the Hoosier State. And our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with a look at how those baby boxes aren't just saving lives, but they're also creating families. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Meredith and Lauren. So on September 6th of last year, a baby was surrendered at a baby box just like this one in Hammond, Indiana. And again, they're not just saving babies, but they're also creating families and giving parents the child that they've always been praying for. Here's a picture of that baby whose name we now know is Grace. Her parents, Mario and Jennifer Melgoza, bravely shared their story of infertility, fostering and adopting with RTV6 to show just how important these baby boxes are. Jennifer says she never stops thinking about the person who surrendered Grace because whoever did gave her and her husband something at times they thought they would never have, a baby to call their own. Since the first baby box was installed in 2016, 5 babies have been surrendered inside these boxes and 2 others have been surrendered at fire stations. Nationwide, 60 surrenders have resulted from calls to the Safe Haven Baby Boxes National Hotline. So today at 10:30, this baby box here in Greenwood will be blessed and put into service. And we've been covering baby boxes pretty extensively since 2016. And for a closer look at what they are and exactly how they work, plus closer look into the story of the Melgoza family, you can visit our news app. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. The racing world and central Indiana community continues to mourn the loss of John Andretti. He died Thursday after a long battle with colon cancer. John Andretti competed in 12 Indy 500s, but most of his success in racing came in NASCAR. He earned his first career win at the July race at Daytona. Andretti also made a huge impact away from the track, creating Race for Riley in 1997. The annual go-kart competition has raised nearly $4 million for Riley Children's Hospital. Andretti was just 56 years old. Taking a turn now and checking in on our weather. Todd, finally we have some sunshine headed our way.
Yeah, well, sunshine arrives on Sunday. Before we get through that sunshine, we have to go through a little bit of light snow here this morning and a pretty cloudy day tomorrow. So let's talk about this snow. It's moving in right now across parts of the area, and initially a lot of this is not reaching the ground. But as we expand out, some of the heavier moisture is still just off to our southwest, and that's what's going to advect here into central Indiana, although the heaviest of this moisture is going to stay down to the south. And I say moisture and not snow because you can see it's changing over to rain already. And temperatures right now are hovering right around freezing. So this is not a slam dunk case for snow for everybody. In fact, it probably turns over to rain in southern locations. As far as the timing goes, I think your commute's okay through 6, 7 o'clock. Once we get to 8 o'clock, we're starting to bring in this wintry mix across the area with those temperatures right around freezing. Any accumulation, I think, is probably limited from Indianapolis to the south, and that will probably only be right around a ½ an inch of snow at best. And then temperatures by this afternoon are climbing all the way up to near 40 degrees or above 40 degrees in some locations, 42 in Rockville, 42 in Bloomington. So whatever does fall will melt away. Then for the evening drive home, we shouldn't have to worry about any precipitation. So you notice the precipitation kind of ramps up at 9 o'clock in the morning, tail end of the morning commute. Still some snow showers around by the time we get to the noon hour. And then basically here a 10% chance, that's a flurry or two. And that is just about it for the day today. We'll show you some specific snowfall totals coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. The number of coronavirus cases in China continues to spike. Developing this morning, the warning from U.S. officials if your plans include traveling to China.
Plus, you might remember the problems wet summer weather created for Hoosier farmers. After the break, why 2019 was a heartbreaking year for farmers across the country.
And here's a live look right now at your commute on the north side, I-465, a view here from Ditch Road. Traffic is moving along up to speed, pretty quiet in that area this morning. We'll continue to keep you updated on the other side of the break. Stick around.
Weekdays from 4:30 to 7.
Developing overnight, the U.S. State Department has issued a new advisory warning Americans not to travel to China because of the coronavirus.
As ABC's Janae Norman reports, the warning comes as the first human-to-human case is confirmed here in the United States.
This morning, a prediction about the coronavirus is coming true.
This second case did not travel to China.
Doctors in Chicago now confirming the nation's 6th case of coronavirus, but this is the first person-to-person transmission.
We do not have sign of spread in the general public at this time.
Officials say the man is married to a Chicago woman who was already diagnosed. He was placed in isolation Tuesday, the same day he developed symptoms. But unlike his wife and the other Americans infected, he had not been to China.
Public health officials are investigating locations where this second patient has visited in the last 2 weeks and any close contacts who were possibly exposed.
As health officials declared a global emergency Thursday, this was the scene outside pharmacies across Asia where stores are running out of face masks. China is now reporting nearly 10,000 cases of the virus. More than 200 people have now died. Hundreds of Americans are still stuck in the Chinese city where the outbreak began, including Priscilla Dickey and her daughter.
It's an interesting feeling. You're trapped, you're isolated.
The U.S. State Department has now raised its China travel advisory to a level 4, do not travel, its highest level. The union representing pilots at American Airlines is suing the company to stop flights to China, where pilots at Delta and United are being allowed to refuse flights without pay. Janae Norman, ABC News, New York.
It is 5:14. U.S. health officials continue to monitor the coronavirus closely, but they want to remind you that the flu is still a much bigger threat. In fact, the flu has killed more than 8,000 Americans since the start of the season, and doctors admitted more than 150,000 people to the hospital for treatment. This year isn't even that severe. Last year, the flu killed 34,000 people here in the U.S. Flu activity usually peaks around this time of year and then tapers off by April. Your two best defenses are getting a flu shot and frequently washing your hands.
A new report is giving the FDA a failing grade for its response to the vaping epidemic. The American Lung Association says the agency has not done enough to protect kids from flavored tobacco products. The FDA banned certain flavors recently, but that ban does not include menthol. Reports show as many as 27% of high schoolers admit to using e-cigarettes last year. The American Lung Association says this shows the FDA has failed to properly oversee tobacco products.
2019 was a tough year for American farmers. U.S. farm bankruptcies jumped 20% last year. That's the highest level since 2011 when the country was still recovering from the recession. This despite $28 billion in aid extended to farmers over the past couple years. According to the American Farm Bureau, 595 family farms declared Chapter 12 bankruptcy. The cause, uncertainty in the markets spurred by trade wars and the rewritten international agreements. The time right now is 5:16. We want to get a check of our forecast back here at home, Todd, and we're starting it off with some flurries.
Isn't this pretty? No, not so much.
It was before Christmas. Now,
before
Christmas.
I've just gotten used to just no snow this winter, so I don't want any of it now.
January has been very, very wet for us, not very white, as we haven't really seen a whole lot in the way of snow. And there's not a lot of snow coming today, and it's only for some of you. That's the good news. The further north you are, you may see a few flakes, but no accumulation. The bulk of any accumulating snow will be to the south, and there'll be some slick spots possible. But this is not a huge storm system, and one of the things I'm watching for you this morning is the temperature. We're still not below freezing in Indianapolis, 33 degrees right now with the wind out of the east. And in some of the areas where the precipitation is going to arrive first, we're at 35 in Bloomington. Sullivan's at 36 degrees. It's not until you get north of Indianapolis where you find temperatures that are below freezing and just barely in Tipton as well as Peru. So here comes the snow. And a lot of this, especially to the north, is not reaching the ground in Crawfordsville, Lafayette, Kokomo. You'll see a few flakes with this system, but the bulk bulk of the moisture is down near the Evansville area, and that's what's going to slide from southwest to northeast across the area during the course of the morning drive. Now, I think if you walk out the door now, if you walk out the door within an hour, you're probably just fine in these southern locations. Once we get closer to the 8, 9 o'clock hour, that's when we're going to start to see the snow pick up a little bit across the area and then mixing down to the south. You notice the sharp cutoff to the north. By the time we get to 1 o'clock, a few flakes remain in southern locations, and that's just about it. So it's a very quick hitting little system that's going to come through. Yesterday, the models were starting to snow right around now. They've slowed the system down, and that's matching up with what's on radar. So that's good news, at least for the commute. And again, we're talking about maybe a half an inch of snow in some spots, less as you work your way to the north. That's enough to cause a few slick spots on the roadways. But other than that, not expecting huge issues with this system as it makes its way through the area. By 11 o'clock, most of us are just dry with cloudy skies. And as we work our way into the afternoon hours, highs get up right around 40 degrees. And not out of the question, there could be a few peaks of sunshine, just like we saw yesterday later on this afternoon. Tomorrow, 43 degrees. Could be a flurry and or a sprinkle tomorrow morning as another weak little system slides through. Nothing to write home about. Most of the day is dry. And let me get out of the way. There it is. Sunday is the day. Sunshine returns with a high temperature of 55 degrees. It's even warmer on Tuesday, or Monday rather, as we could get close to 60 degrees. And then the next storm system arrives on Tuesday, and that one's a little more potent, but it looks like it's going to be all rain throughout the day.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a live look to our east. This is our INDOT traffic camera on I-70 and Midhofer Road. You can see traffic is picking up already at this early hour. No delays to slow you down. So let's take a look at our traffic now maps. We still have this road closure down here, sort of in the Franklin Township area, as they've been working on a sewer project, 5 Points Road between Stop 11 and East Shelbyville Road. You'll need to avoid that spot again today. We'll continue to keep you updated on any crashes or delays.
Delta Airlines says it plans to replace the uniforms that hundreds of its employees say are causing health problems. Employees, mostly flight attendants, have filed a federal lawsuit against Land's End, the company that makes the uniforms. They say they've experienced a variety of health problems since Delta introduced the uniforms in May of 2018. Delta says tests showed the uniforms were safe. The lawsuit claims employees' own tests found chemicals and heavy metals in the material far above industry safety standards.
It's 5:19. A social media post from Tom Brady presented without a caption is causing a stir online. The New England Patriots quarterback posted this photo on Twitter and Instagram with no caption, which has led to thousands of comments asking, what the heck does this mean? People are speculating if he's walking away from the field, signaling that he's leaving the Patriots or football altogether, or walking towards it, implying that he'll stay loyal to the Patriots. Let the debate begin.
Well, Tony Kanaan is preparing to take his last laps as a primary driver. After the break, we sit down with TK moments after making the big announcement. We'll be right back.
Going to be your new favorite furniture store.
The 104th running of the Indy 500 will hold the final laps, at least as a primary driver, for fan favorite and longtime RTV6 colleague Tony Kanaan.
RTV6 sports director Dave First sits down with TK to get his take and to see what's next.
You're very careful not to call this a retirement, because that's going to be...
Because it's not.
It's not a retirement.
I don't think I'll ever call that, ever.
Why is that?
Because if you retire, you're putting a label that you can't jump in the race car again, and that's not going to happen. I will be that guy with the umber vision glasses saying, I can still drive like Mario does. So no, I'm not going to call that.
You said it was an easy decision. Why do you say that?
It was an obvious decision, Dave. I mean, it's you know, you look back and you see the past couple of years how much we struggled, and then you go, the signs are up in the wall, you know, and it's not about me not being able to drive the race car. It's not about me physically. I mean, I'm in the best shape of my life, actually. I'm a lot better than when I started it. So it was just like, you know, 23 years. Lost sponsorship. What are we doing here?
When you talk about sponsorship, how much more difficult is it 23 years into this than it was your rookie season?
Well, I mean, it's different times, right? When you talk about racing, you had the beer, the tobacco, all those companies that could dump a bunch of money. All the teams were healthy, the manufacturers and everything. It wasn't hard for me because we obviously compressed the schedule. We say we have 5 races. Can you do one? Can you do one? Can you do one? Because obviously it wasn't hard to find the 5 races, but it was impossible to find somebody to sponsor for 17. And that's why I'm not doing the full season. So it is hard.
We're going to miss you in St. Pete for sure.
Well, I'll be there.
Indy 500 can't get here quick enough now, right? To see
is it May yet?
Is it May yet? Exactly. Hashtag. But I know there are thousands of fans that have watched us, have watched you grow here at the Speedway, and they're going to, I think, celebrate with you.
It will be. That's what I said on the press conference. I don't want anybody to be sad.
Yeah.
I want people to, let's enjoy this, and let's enjoy it together the same way we did. I mean, this month of May is going to be extremely hard for me. I can assure you that, because I don't know what the future holds. I might come back, I might not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is one of the races that I still think I can do forever.
Mm-hmm.
But the future, I don't know the future, and it's going to be extremely emotional. So I can't wait. I love it, but at the same time, probably going to need some tissues and the broadcast, you and I.
Day first, RTV6 Sports.
Oh, some good buddies right there.
Those two are so fun to watch.
Oh,
They
my
are.
goodness.
And they are.
We are happy for him and his family, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's always good to see. So.
And like he said, you might see him behind the wheel again. Never say
He's
never.
never
Leaving it
retiring.
open,
Yeah, he's popping in here and there for different races. So we'll enjoy this year's 500. That is for sure. All right, outside right now, we have some snow moving in. I just looked at the observation in Bloomington, not reaching the ground as of yet. But if you're watching from Bloomington and you are starting to see some flakes, shoot me an email or my Facebook page. Let me know. 30 degrees in Logansport right now, 35 in Bloomington, 33 is the current temperature in Muncie. So some of you are still above freezing. As we go throughout the day, eventually highs will be right around 40 degrees. The issues with any snow will be this morning. By the time we get to the noon hour, most of that precipitation is moving out. As far as accumulation, we won't see a whole lot here across the area.
Todd, thank you. Do you hop on an Indigo bus to get around town? Ahead on Good Morning Indiana, the changes coming to the system that could impact your day.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5:30, Indianapolis Public Schools making a big decision involving layoffs for bus drivers and other transportation workers. We're going to take a look at what's next for hundreds of employees affected.
And the latest Safe Haven baby box is being installed in Greenwood today. Our Kelsey Anderson shows us how the boxes are saving lives and also creating families. But first, it is Friday, so we need to know what's in store for this weekend when it comes to the weather.
Yeah, and I've been looking forward to one of the days this weekend, Todd, but we got to get through today first.
Yeah, you know, and there are some snow showers starting to make their way into central Indiana. So Sunday's the day we all need to look forward to. It's the day you can finally enjoy the sunshine and get back out. But this morning, the commute may turn a little slippery for some of you across the area. To the north, even though you see a little bit of white showing up on Storm Team 6 radar, most of that's not reaching the ground. In northern locations, I really don't think you have much of an issue. Definitely not this morning for your commute anyway. But down to the south here, some of the heavier precipitation starting to move in, but you see it already changing over to a little bit of rain. Temperatures in the Bloomington and Bedford area right now around 35 degrees. So whatever does fall, since it's so light, it's basically just going to melt away. But the bulk of what we'll call the more significant or heavier precipitation is still just across the state lines down into portions of Kentucky and southern Illinois. And it's that as it moves through probably mid-morning that will give us the best opportunity to pick up some accumulation. And you see that here as the darker shades of this bluish purple take over. And that's at 10 a.m. So I think most of you probably get to work, and then as we work our way into the afternoon hours, it ends as a little bit of rain as it quickly races off towards the east. Accumulations, not going to be a whole lot, generally a half an inch or less. But again, that is confined mainly to southern areas throughout the day today. By the noon hour, we're clearing things out. 2 o'clock, maybe even a few peaks of sunshine with temperatures that'll eventually this afternoon top off right around 40 degrees. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on those roads. Here's a look on the northwest side, I-465 and West 38th Street. You can see lots of headlights moving across your screen. Everything's traveling up to speed. Let's take you down to the south side. Plan out your drive as you travel up State Road 37, starting here in Bargersville at State Road 144, heading up to the I-465 ramp system. It's just a 14-minute drive, so everything there is traveling up to speed. Across the county, starting in Whiteland, heading up to I-70 in downtown, it's an 18-minute drive, so traffic there is moving along just fine as well. Let's head out over to the east side. This is a live look from I-70 and Arlington Avenue. Traffic in that area is traveling up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. As Todd said, watch for any slick spots this morning, and of course, we'll keep you updated on any crashes.
Who are we? Ask me! Who are we? Ask me! Who are we?
Dozens of IPS school bus drivers chanting in disappointment after the school board voted to approve a new transportation contract. Now, the school board of commissioners decided in last night's meeting to change from the district in Durham school services to a company called First Student.
The change impacting the jobs of hundreds of bus drivers and transportation workers. The new contract will begin July 1st with all of IPS's 305 bus routes being run exclusively by First Student, saving the district $7 million. IPS says 135 employees directly employed by the district will be laid off after summer school in June. The district says they will have an option to apply for jobs with the new company. At the meeting, a representative for First Student told the board the bus drivers and attendants would be considered part-time employees and offered a 4-hour work minimum. Union leaders representing both IPS and Durham transportation staffers say that won't cut it, as drivers are currently full-time with benefits.
Won't be able to retain employees working 2 hours. So even if they wanted that, they wouldn't have employees that would stay. Right. They'll be hiring on a regular basis. So it does the community disservice, and it does the families and the employees that work at disservice. Absolutely.
The district released this statement saying the IPS Board of School Commissioners approved a contract with First Student Transportation that will improve the quality and reliability of transportation for our students and provide increased peace of mind for families. We value our employees and their loyal service and will work cooperatively with First Student to help successful teammates find a new job within the company.
Also at the meeting, the board reviewed a recommendation to put 2 IPS schools through innovation restarts for the 2020-2021 school year. This comes after Lewis B. Russell School 48 received an F on the state scale this past 6 years. Stephen Foster School 67 also declined, moving from a D to an F in the past 3 years. The innovation restart means the district would partner with a third party to reset the school. IPS says it's an improvement strategy that will require changes in school leadership and teaching staff. The board is still reviewing that recommendation for both schools 67 and 48. They'll vote on the resolution next month.
A man charged in connection to the 2018 murder of Boone County Deputy Jacob Pickett will spend 48 years in prison. 23-year-old John Ball was sentenced in Boone County Superior Court to 48 years in prison. Investigators say Ball did not shoot Pickett, but they say he did supply the gun to Anthony Baumgart that was used in Pickett's death in March of 2018. Ball originally faced a murder charge, but it was dropped to drug-related charges and providing a firearm to an ineligible person in a plea deal. Here at 5:35, the state's latest safe haven baby box is set to be unveiled later this morning, and this time it's at the White River Township Fire Department in Greenwood.
After today, there will be more than 25 safe haven baby boxes available across the Hoosier State. Our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with a look at how the baby boxes aren't just saving lives, but they're also creating families. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So on September 6th of last year, a baby was surrendered in a baby box just like this one. And then her surrender ended up completing a family and answering the prayers of a family. So here's a picture of that baby whose name we now know is Grace. Her parents, Mario and Jennifer Melgoza, bravely shared their story of infertility, fostering, and adopting with RTV6 to show us just how important these baby boxes are. Jennifer says she's never stopped thinking about the person who surrendered Grace, because whoever did gave her and her husband something at times they thought they would never have, a baby to call their own. Since the first baby box was installed in 2016, 5 babies have been surrendered inside baby boxes, and 2 others have been surrendered at fire stations. Nationwide, 60 surrenders have resulted from calls to the Safe Haven Baby Boxes National Hotline. So today at 10:30, this baby box will be blessed and put into service for anyone to use in the area anonymously. For more information on how these baby boxes work and more information on Mario and Jennifer's family story, you can visit this story on the RTV6 News app. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Working for you this morning as concerns over the spread of coronavirus grow, RTV6 is finding out how local health officials are taking precaution. At Franciscan Health, procedures are in place to monitor and screen patients who may have traveled outside of the country and were potentially exposed to the virus. Wuhan, China is the epicenter of the outbreak. The precautions include keeping a patient suspected of having the virus quarantined until testing is complete.
I mean, I think this is getting a lot of attention, and understandably, there's a lot of concern around the globe in trying to prevent it from spreading any more than it already has. Here still today in central Indiana, you're much more likely to be afflicted by the flu.
The World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus a global health emergency. There are at least 6 cases in the U.S., but none have been confirmed in Indiana. More than 9,600 people have been sickened by the virus in China, and at least 213 people have died.
It is 5:38 with the upcoming census. The Bureau needs workers to help take count, so they're hosting a recruiting blitz this weekend for anyone who's interested. Hourly pay for census workers here in Indiana will range from $18.50 to $25 per hour. The hours are also flexible. An open house will be held at the Indianapolis Census Office on West Ohio Street from noon to 2 tomorrow. You can apply on site for both field and office positions. And the Indianapolis Indians are also looking to hire for the summer. The minor league baseball team is holding open interviews next Saturday from 10 to 2 at Victory Field. Seasonal openings range from bat boys and girls to field operations and ushers. You can find out more information on both the Indians and census jobs on our website, hiringhoosiers.com. It is 5:39. As you're heading out the door to start your Friday, you're going to have to maybe dodge a few snow flurries, Todd.
Yeah, and thank you to James for checking in with me up in Fowler here. He's reporting a few flurries up in that area, and certainly the case probably in Lafayette back into portions of Petersburg. We'll start here in southern locations, and it's these darker shaded areas. They have the best chance of seeing a few flakes. Franklin back just south of Martinsville down towards Bloomington, and as we slide to the north, Petersburg, as I mentioned, over towards Lafayette. Here's Fowler, where James was, with a few flakes. To the north, it's probably not going to accumulate much at all, so you don't have to run the risk of seeing any accumulation. In southern locales, though, we could see up to about a ½ an inch of snow. But here's the thing. The temperatures right now are hovering just above freezing, and we're not expecting them to drop. So unless you get a real intense burst of snow, it probably could stick on the grass, but the roadways probably not going to become super slick across the area, even in those southern locations, despite a couple tenths of an inch of snow. So it's not a big deal, but it's enough to warrant using a little bit of caution on the roadways. The timing of any accumulation, no, probably doesn't start until closer till 8, 9 o'clock this morning. More on the snow coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. The battle over new witnesses and documents continues in the impeachment trial. Coming up, the debate that could lead to a final vote as early as today.
And USA Gymnastics is offering sexual abuse survivors millions in a new settlement. Still ahead, why a victim's attorney calls the money, quote, unworkable. It's 5:40. We'll be right back.
Nivea oil-infused lotion.
It's a pivotal day in the impeachment showdown as Democrats scramble to see if they can get enough votes for new witnesses. This after a key Republican senator said late last night he's not going to vote for new testimony. ABC's Megan Tevrizian is in Washington with the latest.
Key Republican senators weighing in overnight on the issue of witnesses, signaling to Republicans the impeachment trial may soon be over.
They are really grasping at straws at this point, and it's time to vote.
Republican Senator Lamar Alexander, who is not running for re-election, saying he will vote against having witnesses appear. In a statement saying there is no need for more evidence to prove something that has already been proven. And while he calls the president's actions inappropriate, he says it does not meet the Constitution's high bar for an impeachable offense. But Republican Senator Susan Collins says she will vote to allow witnesses. Senator Mitt Romney also says he's interested in hearing from witnesses, but Senator Lisa Murkowski is still on the fence.
We need for Republican senators to grow a backbone.
In Thursday's marathon session, Murkowski and others asking whether Bolton's allegations would rise to the level of impeachable offense, even if true.
Therefore, for this and other reasons, his testimony would add nothing to this case.
Former National Security Advisor John Bolton, in his upcoming book, reportedly claims the president withheld aid to pressure Ukraine to investigate political rival Joe Biden and his son. At a rally in Iowa Thursday night, the president seeming unfazed.
But the Democrats are trying to overturn the last election. We will make sure that they face another crushing defeat.
Later this afternoon, there will be more debate on witnesses than a vote. If there are 51 votes, they could move to closing arguments, and an acquittal on President Trump could happen as early as tonight or tomorrow morning. Megan Tevrizian, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
It is 5:45. The United States says it's looking into placing Patriot missiles in Iraq to counter Iran. The announcement comes as the House approved a set of measures meant to curb President Trump's ability to take military action. Secretary of Defense Mark Esper says that the U.S. has asked permission from Iraq to deploy the defense system. Earlier, Iraq has expressed that it wanted to reduce, not increase, U.S. presence and recently voted to withdraw U.S. troops. The Trump administration responded to that vote by threatening sanctions.
USA Gymnastics is offering sexual abuse survivors millions of dollars to settle claims connected to the national team doctor Larry Nassar. They're offering $215 million, saying that is the amount the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee are willing to provide. The settlement is part of a bankruptcy exit plan filed by USA Gymnastics this week. The organization is facing dozens of lawsuits from athletes who say they were abused by Nassar. An attorney representing some of the victims called the offer unworkable and unconscionable.
A pilots' union is taking legal action to halt American Airlines flights between the United States and China. The Allied Pilots Association has sued the company, asking for an immediate restraining order to halt flights because of the Wuhan coronavirus. Earlier this week, American Airlines suspended 2 routes from LA to China because of a decline in demand. The airline has not commented on the new lawsuit. Back here at home, we want to get you out the door with what you need to know, so let's check in with Todd.
And as you walk out the door, some of you seeing a few snowflakes already. More of you will see additional flakes as the morning goes on. So light snow continues to develop here across the area. Minor accumulations mainly from Indianapolis to the south, and a few slick spots will be possible as we work our way throughout the morning commute. So temperatures obviously very critical when you're talking about snow, and you see most of us are hovering just below freezing in northern locations, a degree above freezing in Indianapolis, 2 degrees above freezing in Bloomington. This is significant because with temperatures above freezing, it may still snow. You can get snow with temperatures above freezing, but once it hits the ground, it's essentially just going to melt away. It may accumulate a little bit on grassy areas, but that should be just about it. Let's go over to Storm Team 6 radar with the satellite picture on it as well, and we'll talk about this snow. And it's these darker shades where you're probably starting to see a few flakes develop across the area. Where it's very bright white, that's probably not even reaching the ground. And then as we extend back off towards the southeast, towards Evansville here, that's where we are dealing with rain mixing in. So Shoals getting into some rain. Bedford probably mixes over to some rain throughout the duration of the morning commute. For those of you north of Interstate 70, a few flurries being reported in this band of snow to the north, but probably not going to hamper the morning drive. So it's mainly an issue for southern locations throughout the course of the morning. I think things probably ramp up and a little bit more as we go throughout the 9-10 o'clock hour in southern locations. Notice the sharp cutoff to the north, and by the time we get to 1 o'clock, everything's basically moving out, and even a few peaks of sunshine possible in northern locations later on this afternoon. So as far as the potential accumulation, this is not a big storm for us. We're looking at a ½ an inch or less of snow, mainly I-70 southward, where it mixes even further to the south, probably even a little bit less. So I wouldn't worry about the snow too much here this morning. Obviously, if you encounter it, you got to slow down just a little bit, but it's not going to prevent you from getting to your destination. It's not that kind of storm system. Highs eventually, once that storm moves off to the east, top off right around 40 degrees. Then going forward in this forecast, as we work our way into the coming days, we'll get another round potentially of a little bit of rain, snow tomorrow morning across the area, but that will be just about it for us on your Saturday. So Saturday is mostly cloudy with just a 20% chance of an isolated flurry and or some drizzle. Sunday is the day. 55 degrees, mostly sunny skies. It's the day everybody's going to be out and about walking around after what has been a very dreary stretch of weather. And then as we work our way into next week, temperatures stay in the 50s. In fact, Monday could get to 60 degrees, but Tuesday turns pretty wet all across the area. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a look at our traffic now maps. Planning out your drive heading southbound on 65 from all the way up at State Road 267 into the North Split. It's a 21-minute drive, so no problems there for drivers in parts like the northwest side of Marion County, Boone County, Hendricks County, no delays. So that is good news. Let's take a look over here on the east side. Our NDOT traffic camera at I-465 at I-70. Traffic at this interchange is picking up this morning. No delays to slow you down.
After 27 years, Jerry Seinfeld is coming out with a new comedy book. book. Simon & Schuster announced plans to release the book, which doesn't have a title yet, on October 6th. It will be organized by decades of Seinfeld's comedy, starting with stand-up. He says throughout his career, he kept record of all his comedy material on big yellow legal pads. Seinfeld's first book, Sign Language, was one of the best-selling books of 1993. He later released a children's book called Halloween in 2002.
It's new, an up-close look at the surface of our sun. This detailed picture is from a telescope in Hawaii. It reveals that the sun is covered with bright cell-like areas, but get this, each one of those little dots is about the size of Texas. The National Science Foundation says the cells form as the sun's interior transports heat. Scientists hope to use the magnified telescope to understand solar activity that affects power grids.
And now I want a caramel rice cake.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Picture.
Yep.
After a busy first week, Butler's new baby mascot is reaching another milestone. After the break, a look at Blue 4's latest accomplishment. We'll be right back.
Butler Cruncher chicken sandwiches. Get rallies delivered.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Here is a live look at your commute up on the north side, I-465 and Keystone Avenue. Lots of headlights moving across your screen there, both eastbound and westbound. The good news, no crashes or delays in this spot to slow you down.
Just last week, we were all introduced to Butler University's next mascot, Blue 4, and now the young bulldog is already celebrating a major milestone. Just like parents who mark monthly milestones with their newborn babies, Blue 4 is getting monthly pictures to mark his growth. You see him at month 1, 2 months, then 3 months old, according to his Twitter account. He had a very busy week. TV appearances, his public introduction to Butler fans at Hinkle Fieldhouse, and meeting Indiana's first dog, Henry, and of course, stopping by the Butler president's office. Blue 4 is in training to take over when Blue 3 retires in May.
And he's so cute.
And reading that script, the Roman numeral for 4 was in there, and I kept wanting to say Blue Ivy like Beyonce's little girl. So I kept getting tripped up. I'm sorry, Todd. Sorry that I am so immersed in pop culture I cannot help myself.
Oh my gosh.
Blue 4 was so cute when he was here in studio. Fell asleep during the interview.
Yeah, he was snoring over there.
Snoring, yeah.
I mean, I can't say we all haven't been close to that before, too. Just these
Turn
mornings.
the lights out, you never know.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes.
All right, outside right now, we're watching this wintry mix make its way into central Indiana. To the north, there's a few flurries reported. Not really too concerned about issues in northern locations. The more substantial or heavier precipitation is south of I-70, and it's starting to mix just a little bit here on the corner of Storm Team 6 radar with a little bit of rain. So from this point forward, you notice the temperatures are still a little bit above freezing, but from about, I would say, 7, 8 o'clock onward, that's when we'll have the best potential for some minor accumulation, a half an inch or less. By this afternoon, we're talking about dry conditions and temperatures eventually up to near 40 degrees. We'll talk much more about the snow and the impact it could have on your morning commute, and we'll look ahead to your weekend as well, coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:56. Stay with us. We'll be right back.